Looking forward to a good contest. Melbourne trying to stay in touch with the 8. Fremantle trying to consolidate their position inside the 8. And we're underway. Ruckman in the middle doing the job. Maloney got the first significant touch. Scully involved as well for the second time. And now spills to Broughton. Fife, a really important player, as the boys have alluded to today. Fife out wide is able to find this. The conditions couldn't be better for Fremantle to challenge away from home today, I reckon.
Yeah, no wind to speak of, and a nice temperature of about 15 degrees, so very good for football.
Exactly. Perfect for them to have a fair and equal opportunity other than the travel here today. Spinning out of trouble there. And that occasion was Trengove.
We just saw Pavlich starting in the middle. His direct opponent was McKenzie. The kick wasn't to Pavlich's advantage. And watch for Pavlich to push forward on McKenzie. See the height difference there? Yep. That's what Fremantle midfield have to identify.
McKenzie go with him if that happens, Spud?
No, they'll make a change, BT. There's no doubt. If Pavlich goes forward, they'll look at that, Melbourne. They'll be a little bit worried.
De Boer caught in the Trengove tackle. Going down hard and low on that occasion, Gawn. And Crowley eventually got it out. Pavlich helped its way, but Scully with his third touch already. Effective though, as Fremantle looking and setting up that wall across the wing. Great opportunity for them to go forward. Here's Barlow just over his head. Now Johnson, who did really well up forward for Fremantle last week and showed some liveliness there.
Yeah, they did, BT. Kingy, with McFarlane marking that ball, it's exactly what you were talking about pre-game.
And that's exactly what happened last week against the Bombers. They were able to get only 4 inside 50s from 29 rebounds. That's where the Dockers are strong, head-to-head with where Melbourne are strong.
Morton to Scully. Getting plenty of it, but his disposal so far just hasn't been clean because he's been under pressure, in fairness to him.
Well, there's McFarlane again, as David King alluded to. Just the release player is...
Oh, it's hit hard too there.
Yeah, that's good.
Broughton, in goes Crichton. He was thrown to the ground, so Melbourne just all of a sudden switching on. Scully again. It's his 5th touch already here today. Maloney to Green on his favoured left side. Jack Watts has got the body position here, although working in front nicely, Ibbotson.
Yeah, it wasn't a great kick to the advantage of Watts, but you touched on Scully having 5 disposals. We're 2 minutes into the first term.
Yeah, it's absolutely astonishing. Scully. Here's Main. Not a big crowd here today, around about 20-odd thousand.
Well, there's Crowley. He's Scully's direct opponent, so he'll soon shorten that leg rope a little bit, you would think.
Well, he's going to get a fair tour of the MCG today because Scully does run extremely hard.
Down the line they go, looking for Zach Clark, picked up by Griffin in the end. Nice little handball out in front, an opportunity for the Fremantle Dockers here. Johnson gathers, he looks inside, nothing there. That's a rather unusual looking kick along the ground. In the end, it hit the stump of the post.
It was low percentage in the end. He still could have kicked the ball. I know he's under pressure. You see here, just kick the ball 20 metres out with some elevation.
Why along the ground, though?
Yeah, exactly right. You're just allowing the bounce of the ball to come into to play. Or have a go at the goals, Brian. You're absolutely 100% correct.
Opportunity here for Fife, ran past the ball. Pettard had it taken out of his hands, recovered it well. Quick thinking Broughton, though, applied the tackle. Scully yet again. Watts got the give and go back. Melbourne look good in this part of the ground. Can they find a target? That's the real thing for the Demons. In the hands now of Howe. Howe gathers and goes wide. Remember, Green's going to be running onto his favoured left side. This is easy for Brad Green. 40 and closing. Good shot at goal. Just across the faces. Goal umpire Jason Venkatsayarea.
A better passage of play there with Howe. When he marked the ball, he held it up. He held it up and allowed Brad Green to get into a really dangerous space. So, good decision there.
Really important, Danny, when Pettard goes up to the wing that he gets possession like he did then. McFarlane is his opponent who you've spoken about, holding down back. And
Kingy, you're a little bit concerned today that the Melbourne forwards don't get time to set up their game. I'll come back to you for a comment. In fact, we might do it now, but as they go forward, here is Maloney. They go forward, and I mean from their back line. High ball inside 50. Sylvia, who's been in dangerous form.
Oh, here we go.
Over the line. Green's able to kick the goal in the end. Remarkable that Fremantle couldn't get that across the line.
Mark Harvey would be very disappointed with that effort. Just when the ball's just bobbling around on the goal line, just to fumble it through the goals was the obvious result for the Fremantle Dockers. Now, Sylvia's done well to keep this in play, but McFarlane just had to do better to rush the behind, and that is a very bad mistake. McFarlane's trailing Sylvia. As I said, good work from Sylvia, but that should not happen. And in the end, the byproduct of good work from his teammate, Brad Green kicks the goal.
Yeah, might just go back to David King. Yeah, you're worried that Melbourne don't get a chance to set their forward line up, Kingy.
No, they play too fast out of their back line, Brian, and once they've compressed down to help their defenders, the Melbourne forwards, they just don't get that opportunity to reset. As we just saw then, if they are settled and set, they're very effective.
Yep, indeed they are. In the middle here, McKenzie, real tough nut of the Melbourne side. Here's Maloney, and the advantage is paid, and it goes long and deep. Was there a hold there on Stephen Martin against McFarlane? The umpire said no. He still managed to get beat the ball, which in the end was a good effort.
Well, that's good. That's a good passage of play. Stephen Martin being the tall player, been playing the ruck. He's 0-30. Melbourne have got a bailout kick.
Well, that's what you want, and that's why Jamar was so good when he was playing out of the ruck. Yeah, a bit of holding probably each way, a bit from McFarlane, but Jamar can take a contested mark, so with him not being there, Stephen Martin stepping into the breach.
Morton's got to go in the same direction of the ball. Did well not on French. Here's Watts. Thought about the kick, got the handball off. Scully gives it as well, and so Melbourne again go forward. An opportunity by Bartram missed to the right.
Scully's been on fire. 7 disposals, Bartram there. 4 inside 50s. Melbourne for 3 scoring shots, so that's the way to create forward pressure. Keep the ball inside your forward 50.
Just looking a little ominous all of a sudden, isn't it? Fremantle owned the first 2 minutes, and Melbourne have owned the time since.
Especially the bottom sides, and certainly Melbourne's still a developing side. You need to get reward for effort though, so they have to get a goal on the board as well to be able to just psychologically reward the effort.
Here's Barlow with his first touch, caught from behind. It was a tough one. Fremantle still cracking in at the middle. Went hard and low on that occasion, did Hinkley. Started the day on the bench, and here we are again with Griffin on the bottom of the pack.
Yeah, it was a really good tackle from Daniel Nicholson. You can see here, here's Nicholson. Tackle the hips, really good tackle.
Late inclusion for Jordan Gisbert.
Welcome back, Michael.
It just takes a little while to pick up the intensity, doesn't it?
Well, it was only half a game for Peel Thunder in their reserves 2 weeks ago, then pretty much a full game for their senior team last week, so the tempo's picked up a tad, I would have thought.
Trengove, nice ball. And
Watts over the back. Oh, had to go quicker.
Headed. Lynchy wants him to go. He took a little while. In from the side. Sylvia. Up he goes. Did he get beat the ball? I reckon it was over the line, but the goal umpire's going to give it a goal.
Well, that's a good result. I felt that the ball had to go in a lot quicker to Jack Watts, who was in the plumb position, actually, to hold his defender under the ball and take a mark. But in the end, it was Sylvia that's come over the top again. He's been lively in the first few minutes.
It's got to be over the line.
Let's have a look.
Looked over the line. Oh, well, the umpire's in perfect spot there. So, got to...
Here we go. We'll have another
This is the one.
really good look here. There's the spillage. There's the ball. Oh, good decision.
Goal.
Well, Melbourne get their second in a matter of minutes, and all of a sudden they're off to a flying start, leading by 13. It was a close one, that, but I think the umpire got it right in the end.
The ball's got to be completely over the line, doesn't it?
I think so.
I think we couldn't see the ball on that replay completely over, so that was a good call from the umpire.
13-point advantage early here with the Demons. Trengove, Hill trying to hustle. Hill needs a big game for Fremantle today. Duffield's got it in the middle. They need to own a bit of ball here and get a bit of time with it. Broughton gives it further afield to the left-footed Hill. From inside the centre square, long ball. Garland will get back. But they'll get the chance here, Fremantle, to set up the full press and do what Melbourne have done in the last 5 minutes, and that is lock it in there.
It was a good passage to play, but I was happy with Melbourne really getting back there for that high ball.
Watch Zach Clark over the top here.
And he comes exactly as you predicted. Brilliant stuff, Alistair Lynch. Crowley around the corner, and now Garland on the 10-yard square.
Yeah, great inclusion, BT. Just allows Rivers to play his natural game. He's going to play full-back for the day, Garland, by the looks of things.
So he'll always be the deepest tall?
Yeah, and I reckon that's really good. You know, they missed him the last month. I mean, that Rivers had to play key defence, which his natural game is to play in the third tall.
Watts was out muscled by McFarlane on that particular occasion. Long ball in the Johnson direction, but Frawley chips in front. Ball to Martin. Here's Jones. Oh, risky kick, almost on the intercept mark was Hill. Nicholson, short ball to Bartram.
Good work.
David King, this is exactly what you're talking about, isn't it?
This is exactly right, Brian. You see their forwards are really outside their forward 50 at the moment for Melbourne, pushing right up to the wings. I think they need to just hold one back because they've got no target if they win this ball here.
Okay.
At least they're controlling the tempo.
In front.
Morton, long to Martin. Griffin's got to go. Martin did well. It was a great kick from Morton.
It was beautifully called, Lynchy. He's playing the ruck now, Stephen Martin, because what's happened, Gawn started in the ruck. He's come off the ground. Liam Jarrah's gone forward. So Stephen Martin is now playing in the ruck and is making his direct opponent. No ruckman likes defending inside the defensive 50. And that's a really good, strong, long kick to a contest.
To advantage.
Yeah, to advantage. Perfect kick.
That's all any forward wants. Just kick it to advantage so I've got some sort of chance to be in front of the defender. So good run from Stephen Martin.
Hasn't kicked a goal this year, Stephen Martin. Will get the chance today, and here is the first of them. Good-looking kick. Fans behind the goals like it. He's enjoying it. Melbourne a flying start.
It's a fantastic start for a whole range of reasons. They're playing efficient football. They've had 6 inside 50s. They've scored 5 times for 3 goals too. It was really good play, and there's nothing... A ruckman doesn't like playing key defence. We see the kick from Morton to advantage beautifully. You see Griffin, he's playing the ruck, but all of a sudden now he's playing as a key defender. And it took him a while to work it out. It was all too late, but the kick was far too good for Stephen Martin. Really well coached. Dean Bailey started Martin forward, so they get a really long, strong target, and then into the ruck for a goal.
Melbourne by 19 points. David King.
Just saw Ryan Crowley come to the bench, Brian, for his first break, but Scully had already been there for 3 minutes. He's now back into the middle of the ground, and I don't think they've got a runner that can go with him in the true midfield at the moment, the Freo Dockers.
You know, he's been on the bench, as you say, for a while. He's had 7 disposals. We've only been going 11 minutes, and he's been off the ground for 3 or 4, as you say. Matthew Pavlich ball here.
Well, they need to make the most of this inside 50. They'll spread the ball wide and go long.
Grover can run and penetrate with his run here. Handball inside to De Boer. Bit of a fumble. He's not going to get it done. Mazungu came through. Interception here by Melbourne. So looking all at sea at the moment, Fremantle. There's the combined run-off halfback for the Demons. Garland.
Good support.
About as high as you'll see him today. McDonald. And now Nicholson wields around on the left, but poor patience, poor composure on that occasion.
Yeah, the key word there, BT, was patience. Should have held up. It was 3 on 1. Waits for another midfield to make it 2 on 3.
There's Barlow's first possession on his return. Boys saying today they expect him to play, what, 60-odd minutes or so, guys?
60%.
Yeah, 60% of the game. Opportunity now inside here. Goes to the Demons.
Got out the back here.
Well worked. Now long again.
Petted, 60 out. Look at that. Opening up in the middle. Big Gawn in there.
Big man.
Well coached. He's really doing well here, Dean Bailey, because now Gawn has come on the ground, which is fantastic. So they've got both ruckmen on the ground now. Stephen Martin in the ruck, Gawn. They may have thought he was playing the ruck, but he's actually playing as a key forward. So everything working in Dean Bailey's favour.
Yeah, the Fremantle defence were gone then. They were nowhere near it. And I think, as you and Kingy were touching on, I think they're holding their shape a little bit better this week.
There's another goal for a big man. The last one was Stephen Martin, his ruck partner. Gawn comes in, kick on the way, it's there, and Melbourne have got 4 straight.
Well, that's where we talk about reward for effort. Their last 3 inside 50s have resulted in goals, and so they've had a dominating possession. Once again, it's about work rate and holding your structures forward. So you have got, if needed, a Boa kick, and the work ethic of Ricky Pettard to run hard into space, and then we see Gawn, the long option, and working beautifully at the moment for the Demons, and they're just dominating the disposals. 60-36 so far, 6 scoring shots to 1, and this is a very impressive start for the D's.
Yeah, great start for the D's. Gawn was able to mark deep, go back and kick the ball long, and just watching Maloney's work in the middle here, just getting his troops organised for this centre bounce, telling them where to stand, who's in and who's out. Fantastic leadership by Maloney. And there's the hard nut in there, McKenzie. Handball out, so the Dockers under siege at the moment here. Going to give and go Duffield. Here's Barlow. Tries to get away.
Yeah.
He's slung in the tackle.
And that's just the result of not playing AFL level for 12 months.
Martin gathers. He's caught as well. Fife let him go though. They're cracking in the Demons, make no mistake about it.
Got a great appetite for the contest, Brian.
Yep, Howe had a go. Grover's kick is all at sea. Here comes Morton. Might be Clancy Pearce, it is. Now Fife, now they got the runner, but they have not been clean with their skills to date. And under all sorts of pressure is Hinkley.
Very good tackle again from the Demons. They're on.
Advantage paid. Jones a chipping ball. Green on the lead. Ducking in front, Van Berlo.
With great forward pressure. Last week, one tackle inside their forward 50. You can see the Melbourne are on.
McFarlane forced to really thread the needle, which he couldn't do. And guess what? It's a 3-on-2 here in favour of Melbourne. Frawley, desperate. McDonald, or it was. May have been Howe, it was. Now they go forward again. Green in amongst it. Watts went the spoil from behind. Picks it up. How clean was that? A glimpse of Watts.
Lining up.
Handball comes back to Howe. Now Green. Howe wasn't looking. Gathers. Got time here. Morton sells the foot candy from 48 metres out. Lets it rip off line.
They're all getting it they're playing well, Melbourne, but in that situation there, they had 3 go up for the 1 ball. They're dominating the game. Just isolate and separate your forward line. They've got Freo where they want them.
And just with the composure, they had 3 spare players on the far side. They just had to be a little patient, but you can't question their endeavour.
Disposal efficiency for Fremantle at the moment is horrible. Now Barlow almost gave away 50 then as Martin goes forward. And the mark has been taken, and Frawley has got all the way forward and will be a big chance to kick this one.
Well, you love that. As being a defender, if you can get it up the ground and put pressure on your direct opponent by taking a mark and generating a shot at goal, he needs to slot this one, and that'll put enormous pressure on the forward players from the Dockers.
Now this guy, forward as a junior, I think, Mr. Uncle Spud.
Yeah, North Ballarat Rebels, Brian. Yep. East Ballarat.
Not quite a footy factory, but nevertheless, he lines up James Frawley from just inside the 50. Oh, that's horrible. It's been a while. Up over the top went Chara.
Oh, look at his uncle just giggling away.
Ball comes to the
He's
ground.
kicked 2.
Clancy Pearce. Well, that's a good start. High ball out. They're under absolute siege at the moment, the Dockers. They can't get anything to stick. They can't break the pressure from the Melbourne. Here's Barlow with a handball to Clancy. Pearce got it out wide. An opportunity for Fremantle on one of the rare occasions to go forward, but there's nothing, almost nothing in front of Johnson. He plays on regardless. Now they get back. Main is the danger. He's got one to beat. Pushes him out of the way. Hits him on the chest. Crowley there. Scully saves the day. Goes wide to Strauss and Scully again. Possession 10 for him.
Unbelievable.
On fire.
Strauss was good there too, Brian. James Strauss with the spoil in the second effort.
Morton into the middle. That's what they don't want to do. Chew off too much and go inside too early.
He went inside to a 50-50.
Yep.
The 50-50 was heavily weighted Fremantle's way.
Crichton.
Pavlich.
He had Hill wide, kicked it into Wrights, and I tell you what, there's nothing forward. That's why he's holding the ball up at the moment here.
Well done.
Howe waited for the troops to arrive. Petted now with Watts. Watts oversized his man in Crichton there.
Well, that's exactly perfect passage of play, Melbourne. Last week they would have just bombed the ball into nothing. They held it up. That extra handball, David King, was outstanding to allow Jack Watts to get into a real dangerous position.
And he dominated for position when he got there. Gave him a real chance to reset. That's the area that they've lacked over the last couple of months, Brian. Danny?
There was that extra handball that allowed Watts to have this shot at goal.
And Jack Watts, big height advantage against young Jesse Crichton.
To make it 5 straight Demon goals and get a withering start here. Jack Watts, difficult angle, and he's kicked it to the near side. So a minor score as Scully goes off with 10 possessions under his belt for a rest. Interesting to hear that I heard that Melbourne Football Club wanted Scully to call a press conference 2 days ago and announce that whatever he had to announce, and apparently he refused. Now, I can't confirm whether that is 100%, but I did hear it around the traps. Interesting ploy by Melbourne. We'll kick out in front of Hinkley here, but clouded around here.
Free kick.
They've really struggled from deep defence to get effective kicks inside 50. This is the one that's really breaking down.
Clayton Hinkley.
That's a kick and hope.
It is. Clancy Pearce is there. Mazungu from the side couldn't get hold of it. Ground level ball. Bartram didn't have it. Should have got a free. Duffield at the back door.
Good tackle, Watts. That should be dropping the ball.
It was incorrect disposal. There's no doubt about that.
And that one there was knocked out in the tackle. which is allowable. Here's 5, chance for Barlow. He can straighten and kick a goal on his return. He won't.
Great for his confidence.
Would have been fantastic, and I think half the crowd are down from Shepparton to watch him in his return game.
With this Jack Watts tackle now, I thought he had plenty of opportunity there, Nick Lowe.
Just dropped it cold.
Yeah, that is a free kick to Jack Watts.
And there's no such rule as attempting, is there? You've got to make contact if you decide to take them on.
But back in our day, it used to hear from the umpire, made an attempt to play on, but I don't think that's a rule.
And he had prior opportunity.
There's Girara over the back, couldn't get there. Big boy Griffin in front did really well. Handball's off to Crowley, little inside-out ball. Now Barlow starting to get a bit of it now, Barlow.
That's their first mark inside 50, Brian. You wonder whether they've rolled the dice correctly with Matthew Pavlich. I think he has to go inside this forward 50 to straighten up the Freo Dockers team.
Michael Barlow here. Strong, blustery wind is sending the flags all of a sudden outward as Barlow comes in. Kick to the punt road end. Just offline to the right-hand side. Distance not quite there either.
Good spoil. Jared Rivers over the back. Started 10 metres off that contest, and that's when he's at his best, Spud. That third up jumper takes the third tall.
No, he's had a very good year, Jared Rivers. And I think you isolate one half of football. He wasn't great last week, but he wasn't on his own either.
Garland, protective of what he did with the ball, did it well under pressure in the end. Hard job that. Petted goes wide to Jurra.
This is actually better for Jurra. He's not at the key post forward.
I think rotating their ruckman, key forward, has really helped their structure.
Great kick by Jones. Really good kick.
Good running from Trengove too, from half back.
Trengove wants to take the man on the mark on. He was corralling then, Van Berlo. Wanted nothing of that. Sylvia pushed under the ball. Green with one over the back, missed.
Let off there.
Good pressure in the end from Broughton.
Again, inside 50s. 12-9. And have a look at that attempt and just back of his right ankle. His direct opponent.
He's okay.
And the knee got a good flex, didn't it?
But the kick, I know they only kicked it behind, but the kick was to a one-on-one, 30 metres out.
Dangerous.
Dangerous, puts any defence under pressure.
And in real trouble in this position. Pfeiffer's an aerialist, we know that. Griffin, great hands. Fife gives it and protects. Hill on the run. Couple of bounces down the wing. Left foot kick looking for Main. Zach Clark is there as well. Rivers did well to punch away.
Main's not happy either because he was running back into the forward 50 and just the kick wasn't good enough.
Well, Hill had a look. Main was 30 metres clear, had a bounce and allowed the Melbourne defender to man Main up. Should have pulled the trigger straight away there, Stephen Hill.
Griffin, Zach Clark, third man up, as Lynch's alluded to, will happen for most of the day. And those two are in the same vicinity.
Well, he came into the side last week and he was very good. So pretty much played as a midfielder winger.
Bit of body work to go on there, isn't he?
Oh, he's 6'8". With a big aerobic capacity. We saw him play in the Foxtel Cup up in Darwin and he was very good for his local team against the Northern Territory.
Misses.
Well, that's some opportunities for you. And when you play interstate, you talked about hitting the scoreboard for goals. They've had 4 or 5 opportunities and only 3 behind. So that deflates your team eventually.
Well, it does. When you haven't had a good record at the ground, you just want to feel good about the place and you need a good start. And certainly they've really struggled to get any sort of pressure on the scoreboard.
Jurra down the line. There's an opportunity with Howe. He goes inside to Gawn. Now Scully. Got stopped in his tracks, had to go back. Nicholson, long left foot to a dangerous spot. Pettard's there, knock away. Watts in front. Thought about the handball, sold it brilliantly. Now Pettard's got the full face of the goals to work with, and he did it absolutely magnificent. 5 in a row here for the Demons.
This is a magnificent passage of play for Melbourne. You see the Melbourne supporters there. They are controlling the game. They're controlling the tempo, as David King alluded to pre-game. You see here Scully could have kicked the ball forward, look for another handball. They go inside their forward 50 now to a one-on-one. Great contest there. Magnificent roving from Watson, drawing 2 players, 2 Freo players, give it back to Pettard. That's a magnificent passage of play. Jack Watts, that is unbelievable for a tall man.
So 5 individual goal kickers so far for the Demons is impressive as well.
Yeah, and just to reinforce what you're touching on, Spud, it doesn't mean you have to be short to be a forward crummer, and Jack Watts did it extremely well, and once again we saw the benefit of having Ricky Pettit back into the side. He can take an overhead mark, or at the very least make a good contest in the forward 50.
Get a thought off you in a moment, David King, about what Fremantle should do right now, because they are absolutely copying it from all angles. Here's Pearce over the top to Crowley. The give further afield. Fife's ball was smothered mid-air. What do you think, Kingy?
They're just not running and covering the ground as hard, Brian. You look in the midfield now, there's about 8 Fremantle Dockers players just walking hands on hips. Need more involvement.
Okay. So Mark Harvey will get to deliver that message in 2.5 minutes. In the meantime, they've got to hold off here, Fremantle, because they're down by 32. They haven't kicked a goal as Fife takes the mark.
Yeah, good mark from Fife, but he's going to have to be wait before he goes inside 50. He's outnumbered long.
Barlow leads to the pocket and takes a really good mark. He protected the drop of the ball with his body from Frawley, but he's too far out to score.
He's going to be really test his kicking ability, but that was extremely good mark from Michael Barlow. Inside 50 was actually 1-on-4.
Barlow will only just get there if he gets his best. Kick to the top of the square. It's a couple short over the back was Pavlich.
No, too easy to defend that kick, Brian. I think the correct play there, you've got the tall players, Pavlich, you've got your ruckman there as well. Get the ball 20 metres out and put the defence under pressure. That was far too easy for Melbourne to spoil.
Jones goes down the line with a high kick. It got there in the end. It wasn't ideal, but Mackenzie marks uncontested in the end.
And he's had a great start as well, except then.
Poor kick. Here's Jones trying to tidy things up and has got the physical nature to be able to get out of those tight situations. Another kick by Jones. That one's out of bounds in the full. So he's had 2 average kicks in his last 2 possessions.
That was Mackenzie's first kick. He's had 9 disposals, but his first kick missed the target.
Time ticking
Have
down.
a look at the Freo forward line. Not a lot to go to.
All stagnant, Spud.
Look at the high ball Melbourne spoiling.
Yep. Pavlich in front, couldn't quite get hold of it. Gorn down on all 4s. Here's Jones with a fast handball out, and Nicholson was caught in the tackle.
Well, no talk, no pressure, no protection there from Melbourne players. There was 3 around him.
Pearce goes long and deep, doesn't wait for them to get set, and that's a goal. Magnificent kick by Clancy Pearce.
It was against the flow, and Daniel Nicholson had the ball, but I'm a bit critical of his Melbourne teammates around him. There was 3-on-4. He's running the ball out at will. Not a lot of pressure on him. Terrific kick from Clancy Pearce, but Daniel Nicholson gets the ball. Now, you see here, look at the Melbourne players. There's just a couple jogging there beside, and Jordan Mackenzie had an opportunity to protect. He didn't get the ball quickly. Clancy Pearce sees an open goal square and makes Melbourne pay against the flow.
Clancy Pearce gets the first goal for Fremantle in this first quarter with a minute remaining in it.
Just a couple of possessions, Mackenzie, Jones, and then not a lot of protection there for Nicholson.
For the most part of the first term, efficiency's been really good.
And that's mental, I think. That's just the mental pressure. They're playing really well, Melbourne. They just need to maintain the intensity.
Oh, Pavlich did well to protect the fall of the ball there and find a bit of space. Here's Hill, knocks it onto Crowley. He went without it, though. And he has another crack. He bowls over his own teammate Fife, which you wouldn't mind as a coach. At least you know he's having a crack. Jones did really well in the tight contest to win it out. Martin, or is it Garland? It's the latter. Garland inside, perfect ball by Garland. Good play by the Demons. Here they go. Winding up there was Nicholson. Got one high. He's looking to move it urgently, though. The kick to Scully needs protection. Green marks.
Good play. Again, BT, both players going for the ball. I think Scully, just the last second, saw Brad Green coming, I hope, because if he didn't, there was going to be a collision there. We see Fife there in the hands of the trainers. Hopefully he's okay, but that's great play. Great run from Scully. Good lead from Green.
Well, it was out into space, once again, to the advantage of the forward.
A bad one to concede for Fremantle because there's just a few seconds left, as you can see, and Green, citing his second goal, comes in and normally very, very good, and that's no exception. So he gets another. Melbourne by 31. So Brad Green off to a flying start along with his Demon forwards.
Yeah, certainly there's plenty of the forwards getting their hands on the ball, and the midfield certainly on top for the Melbourne side as well. They've used the ball well. Here's Fife, just gets hit on by friendly fire from Crowley on that occasion, and he goes down and was in the hands of the trainers. But high contact, you had to stop him somehow, and that was Barlow. Now, I'm not sure where this was going to either Scully or Green, but in the end, a very good mark from Green. And some good work again from the midfield of the Demons there, just putting the defence of the Fremantle Dockers under enormous pressure in this first term.
Well, they have Brad Green kicking 2 goals. What a quarter from Scully as well. Mackenzie, 9 disposals. Tom Scully, 11.
5 getting mopped up by the Fremantle doctor there. Siren sounds to end the quarter. And an electric start here for the Melbourne Footy Club. Hayden Kennedy is just separating Pettit here. I think he's going to be reported as well, and I think he has been reported here, so just an interesting conclusion to that quarter. Hasn't been a lot of that in the game so far. Melbourne control it at the moment. They lead by 31 points here at the end of the first quarter.